I would date and I would get hurt, and then I would kind of like hibernate. Hey ladies, how you doing? So let's talk about letting go. I want to be the first. I'm gonna raise my hand. I hold on to things. I really do. And before I get into this video, I'm going to give like a little spill about how holding on to things can stop you from moving forward and stop you from growing how you really want to grow. There's a lot of things in my past that things have happened to me. A lot of things, even in the recent past, have happened to me. And I tend to ponder on and be wanting to know the reason why people do the things that they do, or why certain things happen to me, you know, the way they do. And it took me a while to realize, you know, Kelly, you can't worry about that. I mean, it took me a while. I mean, thank God for therapy, because, you know, sometimes we may know things, but sometimes we just so caught in doing a routine of always thinking the way that we think. Yeah, sometimes we slip back and do things that, you know, we probably shouldn't do. But at the end of the day, me knowing now, Kelly, you have to let some of these things go. You can't live your life like this. So, in saying all of that, we are going to be in this year and moving forward, we're going to be in the let go. We are letting go. Sit back and ask yourself. We're going to get into this question again later on in this video. How does it benefit from you to keep pondering on something, right? Like, I've pondered on something that happened to me almost a year ago. And I had things that happened to me probably 20 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever. We all have these different things. But I want to talk about something that's a little bit more recent. I've pondered on something that happened to me a year ago. And I said, Kelly, you've let it go, but you really haven't let it go. Because I'm sitting here, you know, we get caught up in a spot where we're always questioning ourselves. What did we do wrong? What could have done to prevent it? What happened? All these different scenarios. But at the end of the day, it was never us. It was never us to begin with. It's like a video that I did. It's like becoming your best self. You're already your best self. You know what I mean? You don't have to change nothing. When certain things happen to you and it's not your fault, it's not you. It's the situation, it's the person, so forth and so on. We have to realize a lot of things that we do. We have to realize a lot of things that happen to us, if it's by somebody else or how they may react and how they may handle, it's their personal way. So we can't fault them for how they do what they do. That's just how they do. But what we can control is how we react on our end. Control what you can, not what you can't. So, in saying all that, let's get into it. As we experience life, our emotions will be challenged. We all experience bad relationships, lost, you know, if it's death or whatever, etc. You know, all of that, anybody. All of these type of emotions that we go through inside will turn into thoughts that will have our minds going crazy. And when I tell you crazy, to the point where you think you're nuts. Let me tell you something. If we can control the emotions, then we can control thoughts. It's okay to have the emotion. Let the emotion sit with you. It's okay, all that good stuff. Because we're human. You know, even if you're not human, everybody feels. Everything feels. So at the end of the day, sit in it for a while. Let it go. Let it pass. Let it come through as if like you're in your home. And this was something my therapist told me. When things come to you that happened to you in your life that disturbed you really, really bad, don't fight it. Let it, you know, let it sit. You know, let it come through, come to you, and let it flow out, and let it go out through the window. And if it come back through the other side of the window, let it come on through. Let's let it pass. It will pass on its own. And the less you think about something, the less you will have emotions for it. It's like emotions, thoughts, emotions. You know, it's like that whole big piggyback thing of body count. You know what I mean? I think I had mentioned in one of my videos about body count, about how when you're dealing with trauma, like when I dealt with childhood trauma and things like that, little things can trigger you and bring you back to that element and those emotions and those thoughts and things like that. I know the whole letting go thing sounds easy, and I'm making it sound so simple, but it's not simple. Trust me. You know, it took me years, you know, if it was talking to friends, if it was me going to therapy and me doing my own self-help, self-situation, self-love type stuff on myself, to realize how when you hold on to so many things and let it just sit inside of you, it really wears you down. And when you just let some things go, if you can't let something go in its entirety, you let go of some things partially, you will see how you flourish and how things happen. I can sit back and I can tell you, a year ago from today, I was totally different. Like, I was in a place where I thought it was a good place, it was really a bad place. You know what I mean? But when you kind of have that, how do you say it? That film over your eye, that film over your heart, sometimes you just don't want to face reality. Because we be knowing. But we be thinking, trying to be optimistic and everything, trying to feel like everything's gonna change. But in all reality, we be knowing. But in saying all of this, a year ago, I was in a place where I thought that was everything. And then when everything was over, in all reality, my life got so much better. It was painful. It was painful because, one, hurt is hurt. You know what I mean? But even while I was hurting, my life was getting better. It may sound so crazy, but let me tell you something. When you're in something, we all can be in denial. We all see different things in our life, and we all sit back and be like, we don't want to listen, we don't want to listen. It was some things that I told a friend of mine. And she wasn't even in the situation. But from what I was telling her, the person on the outside looking in, she saw, I knew, but I was like, yeah. And at the end of the day, everything unfolded. So, in saying all of that, me being where I am today, and me letting go, and me seeing how I was able to still be in pain, still go through what I went through, and still flourish. Let me tell you something. Sometimes when we be in so much pain and so much hurt, and we keep so much in us, we stop ourselves from making money, stop ourselves from growing, stop ourselves from meeting people that we need to be in our lives. You know, we're just trying to hold on for the wrong reasons because we don't want to let go, because we might feel ashamed. I think about people that are married. And I understand, I've never been married, but I'm going to throw this out there. That I have people that I do know that are married and going through this. They know that their significant other, if it's the woman or the man that's treating them wrong, it could be cheating, all that infidelity, all that good stuff, right? But they stay because they feel like they invested so much, and they stay. That's even in relationships, because I was there as well. They stay because they feel like they invest so much. They feel like they put so much time in and they're owed this. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting what you deserve, or how it be treated, how you need to be treated, or how you're supposed to be treated, what's the purpose? When not only do you know you're being treated bad, the world knows you're being treated bad, and the person that's treating you bad knows he's treating you bad. You know, or he or she's treating you bad, if you will. You know what I mean? Because it can happen both ways. So in saying all of that, when you know you are in a bad situation, that could be work, relationships, business deals, remove yourself, because things will happen for you tenfold. I tell you, this year I made more money than I made last year, and I was still in this. I just got a new job, you know, the end of last year, but the whole year of 2021 I made more money than I did in 2020. I was happier. I may have had some, you know, some downfalls, some pits and things like that, but for the most part I was happier because I removed myself from a situation, still was hurting and in pain, but at the end of the day, my life got so much more abundant. You know, so like I mentioned before, it's okay to be in your emotions. It's okay to sit there and be in your feelings and all that good stuff. But ask yourself this question: can you let go? If you have something that's on you and you holding on to, or it comes back and it revisits you every now and then, ask yourself, can you actually let that go? Also ask yourself, if you let that go, how would you benefit from it? Let me tell you something. When I asked myself that question, when that question was asked to me, I was stuck. Because it was like, what do you mean? If I let that go, how would that benefit? How will it benefit you? It'll benefit me. I won't be in pain anymore. I wouldn't care anymore. I want my life. That piece of that moment, if it was a year, 10 years, 20 years, I take back my time. You know what I mean? I'm free of that. I'm not letting that define me. You know, and at the end of the day, whatever happens to me, if it was from a person, place, or a thing, those things move on, because at the end of the day, life goes on. Why should I sit here and be stuck? And sitting here pondering and being, yeah, so-and-so did this, or that happened to me over there. I went to the grocery store and that cashier said this to me. Why are we holding on to it? Why? Or if you're in a bad relationship or whatever and you leave that relationship, why do you sit back and hold on to it? And that's something that I had to realize. You know, if it was past relationships I may have had, I may not have spoken to anybody, but at the end of the day, I was still upset because I couldn't understand. And I'll get into that later as well, because I do feel like when you speak your testimony and you speak and you share, that's a part of release. So at the end of the day, just because I may went through something and it may be not what you went through, you probably can relate in some way, shape, or form, and it will help you in your journey of letting go. In addition to that, I had to learn how to forgive. That was something that I did not know how to do. I wanted to be forgiven, but I didn't know how to forgive. And I had to sit and say, Kelly, forgive and let go, but you don't have to forget. You know, forgetting, the memory, the trauma, everything will always be there. But it's a matter of just letting it go. And if it does come back, which it most likely it will, when you think about it and process it, your body will be different, you will be different, and you won't have that anger that's associated with it, if that makes any sense. In regards to my childhood trauma, I'm never going to forget it. It's always there. But I had to sit back, and once I pretty much addressed the situation and asked my questions, I had to realize no one's going to take ownership. Everybody has their own thought process. Everybody feels how they handle certain things or the way they feel they should handle it. So who am I to go against how they feel? Even if I think it's wrong and I need to have some form of empathy on myself. I had to sit back and say, Kelly, you need to forgive and let go. You're not going to forget, because you can forgive and you always can keep yourself from a distance. Forgive, let go. Because guess what? While you're sitting here pondering damn near 40 years of a childhood trauma, they have pretty much they've moved on with their lives, right? Living life good, living life beautifully, having things that they want. People will do what they want to benefit them. And that's one thing I had a hard time understanding. Sometimes I still struggle with it. I'm not gonna lie. But I can love you from afar. And I don't even have to love you. I can pretty much forgive you and handle you from afar. I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're friends. My peace, my well-being, my sanity is more important than me sitting here trying to mend something that I was trying to mend for over 40-something years, or fix something for 40-something years. So at this point, it's like, let it go. I've been doing good all these years. Yeah, I may have had some pain here and there, but at this point, let it go. And I had to confront the individuals, because there's, more than one. And I said I couldn't get my empathy. So at the end of the day, I told the both of them, I forgive you. And I'm not forgiving you for you. I'm forgiving you for myself, so I can move on with my life, because I don't want to come back and revisit this and be having these kind of conversations again. Why did this happen? Why did you do this? Why? I had to pretty much let go. and live my best life. If that makes any sense. And let me tell you something. It wasn't easy. This whole process is not easy. So if you're going through something and you're trying to let go of something, it's not going to be easy. But when you get through that hump, it will be easy. Trust me when I tell you, it will be easy. And you're going to sit back and you're going to be like, why did I let all these years go with me holding this on my shoulder, my chest, my back, having these conversations back and forth with, you know, my girlfriends, my therapist, and so forth and so on. You start seeing, you know, you get yourself in a new place. And I'm happy I've done it now, because, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, I'm kind of like middle age, you know, 45, you know. So now the rest of my life I have to live beautifully the way I want to, unapologetically. I don't care what nobody think or how they feel. I don't. I really don't. So another component of letting go is pretty much working on yourself. You know, if it's, like I said, therapy is like my bae. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's my bae. And I sit back and I always think about the fact that I didn't think that therapy was actually going to work. I didn't think that it was going to like empower me, if you will. I didn't think so. But I'm happy I stuck it out. It's like almost 2 years. And there was times where I felt like, oh my God, I needed that. I got it off my chest. Then I went like this. Then I came back up. Then I went like this. It's so funny because one of my girlfriends, she would say to me, I can tell when you're high and I can tell when you're low. Those are the kind of friends that you need in your life. Sometimes you may not want to hear what they have to say, because there's times where I ain't want to hear nothing she had to say. Trust me when I tell you, she knows that. But you need that even if you don't want it, because those are the people that will help you and bring awareness when you don't want to hear it. Because sometimes we can be so stuck in something thinking we got it, and you got that one person that'll come in and be like, no you don't, and you don't want to hear that. You be like, you ain't even Team Keli. How you not Team Keli? But in all reality, they are Team Keli. They are Team you if you have friends like that. It's just that we don't like to hear certain things. And I know I am. I'm a sensitive little puppy. I know I am. I'm very emotional. Always been. That's something that will not change. I'm just working on to not be as emotional as I am. Kind of a little bit more tougher skin, if you will. It's not tough, but it's getting a little rough. I put it like that. So I want to share something with you guys. I kind of shared something, you know, in regards to like childhood trauma, but I want to share something about relationships. You know, sometimes we get so caught up to where we're like, how can somebody do this to me? I was so good to them. You know, how could they move on? And meanwhile, you haven't moved on, you know? It's okay. It is okay. And I had to realize that, you know, there was a time in my life where, you know, you would date and then just to get over the next person, and you would date someone else, like a rebound, if you will. But then as I gotten older, I kind of felt like I would date and I would get hurt, and then I would kind of like hibernate, or I would put myself in a closet, not literally, but I would put myself, you know, in a closed space to the point where I wouldn't date for years, you know, not dating for 3 years, and then I would date again, then I wouldn't date for a year. Like right now, I've been single for an entire year, like, and I'm happy, I'm appreciative, because that allows me to know that lets me know that I'm able to detox myself from a situation. I'm able to work on myself, and then when I go into my next situation, you know, which I hope will be something more meaningful and, you know, I always say prosperous, where I don't have any of that baggage on me. You know what I mean? You get to the point where you start understanding what you want to allow. But sometimes when you are at a weak state and you don't even realize you're in a weak state, you allow certain things. You allow certain things to happen to you. And one thing I will say, ladies and gents, never lower your standards. Never. And that's something that I did. I lowered my standards due to loneliness. And that's just being so honest. Never do that. Because again, people will come into your life and they will do what they need to do to benefit them. And then when you're lonely, you allow. You allow. So never, ever, ever, ever lower your standards. Let me give you an example. I helped somebody out, right? I helped them out through the kindness of my heart. They were going through a really rough patch in their life. And probably the lowest they probably ever been. Or one of the lowest, I should say. Because we all have different phases of what we may call high and low. And I, pretty much was like, if I eat, you eat. If this is how it's going to go down, They lost their jobs and everything. And I was pretty much like there for them. And pretty much when things hit the fan and things got really, really bad, and I was like, how can you do this to me? And they were like, I ain't asked you to do that. You done your own. I was like, yeah. And I couldn't say anything. I think I told you this, guys. I think I told you this story before. But this is a part of letting go. As me speaking it out loud and me sharing it, it is something that bothered me really, really bad. And it's okay that I can even sit here and admit the fact that I know I shared this before and it's something that bothers me and it bothered me, and I have to go through the process of letting that go. Okay? And do I see it being let go possibly soon? Yeah. Will it may drag on? Yeah. Because it's still a hurtful feeling. It's a part of trauma. It's a part of body count. All those different things. When you feel like you made sacrifices for another person. You know what I mean? It's hurtful. And not only has that happened in a romantic relationship, it has happened even in my family. So when you can get burnt from a family member in that same capacity of somebody telling you, well, I ain't asked you to do it, and then it happens again in a romantic relationship, you're like, well, shit, I'm dead if I do that if I don't. So it made me realize, Kelly, you gotta stop being somebody's savior and save yourself. At the end of the day, how can you help somebody and you can't help yourself? How can you dare put somebody before you? But again, you thinking, family, blood thicker than water, somebody in need, you help them out. But in all reality, you have to do for yourself. You gotta do for yourself. Life goes on, and when you get past those humps, the future is so much brighter. I sit and I think about this last year and how I can't believe all the things that I accomplished in this year. This last year, I should say. All the things that's gonna flourish in this year. Some things are definitely material. I will definitely say that. I'm not big on material, but some things are definitely gonna, be material. And some things are gonna be my peace, my sanity, just my way of life. That's what I see being brighter for myself, and how it has already been brighter. It's already been bright. So my message to you is, if something has you in your feelings, if it's a past relationship, current relationship, job, family, friends, etc., it's okay. It's okay. Just think about it and ask yourself this question. If I let it go, how will it benefit me? That's what I'm saying. You're going to have a lot of benefits. You will. We all do things in our own timing when it comes to letting go. My let go of certain things took almost, it took me 2 years of self-love, therapy, and pretty much focusing on myself. But things that happened to me 40 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago, for me to sit back and say, no more, it's okay. But everybody has their own timing, and that we sit back and we acknowledge and we accept. That's the first start of letting go. I ask you this question. Are there some things that you need to let go? And if they are, and you're willing to share without, getting too, into it, leave it down below. Let's have, dialogue down below. We can all get into it, because at the end of the day, I want this to be of a sisterhood to us, that we can kind of, piggyback off each other, kind of talk and throw things, and, be a safe place for us to have good conversations. At the end of the day, all we have is ourselves. And we have to take care of ourselves before we take care of anybody else. So I want to say hey to all my new subscribers. Hey to all my loyals. Thanks for hanging out, man. I'll catch you next video. Bye. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe.